Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer Studio episode. Today we're taking a look at an updated Huey, but this one in particular is the Sea Wolves. And so if you haven't seen this before, you haven't been to the product page where this bad boy lives, there's an awesome PBS documentary about the Sea Wolves on there that you can check out. They're a ragtag bunch. It was really cool to see what they did. Some of the most accomplished pilots in the Vietnam War as well, just because they were brave men to say the very, very least. But this is the model, and I got Dan here joining me to talk a little bit about the updates as well as some of the cool 3D printed frills, and then obviously the updated stand as well.
Right. So in the Vietnam War, I mean, a little geography lesson. Vietnam War was a conflict between the North Vietnamese and the South Vietnamese, and the very farthest southern reaches of South Vietnam was the Mekong Delta, the Mekong River, very wet. Rivers, deltas. It's just like rice paddies. Most of the transportation occurs on the water.
Yeah.
Commerce, people, everything. So the U.S. Navy was tasked with patrolling all these waters, and they had to literally hobble together a maritime riverine fleet
Known as the Brown Water Navy.
right, to patrol these waters, make sure that the intercept weapons smuggling, troop infiltration into the south. Because that river went all the way into Saigon. All the major cities are accessible by water, and they had to basically isolate the Viet Cong and the Vietnamese regular army from being able to infiltrate those areas.
Right.
So hence they brought in the Brown Water Navy. One key component of that is they didn't have any sort of aerial support. A group of soldiers on the ground, of small boats could easily be isolated and, targeted and become victim, basically picked off one by one, unless they had some sort of quick rapid response. And what better rapid response than air support?
Well, and since Korea, the helicopter warfare had just kind of continued to evolve, and we saw it obviously come to a next level during the Vietnam War.
So it was kind of an emergency. Like, hey, the Navy said, hey, we need to get some sort of
something.
We need helicopters. We need some way of accessing our troops. So the Navy begged the Army for some cast-off helicopters. They got them. They got these UH-1 Cs and Bs because the Army was in the process of changing over from these earlier, smaller models to the D model, which is a bigger troop transport model. And then eventually they got the Cobras. And the Navy didn't want the Cobras. The Navy said, thanks, but no thanks. We like the firepower, but we like these because we can use them for a multitude of different missions, including rescue. You can't rescue somebody on an attack helicopter.
Yes.
It's pretty much.
Unless you're going to have them sit on your lap, there's really no
right,
way
or
to go
on the
about
wing
there.
or something.
Yeah, right. Hold on.
Yeah, which is not, if you have a wounded soldier, that's not going to be not going to be much of a help. So what we have here is a C model. The main difference between the B model and the C model for the layman of us is the thickness of the tail. The tail, they did some changes, evolutionary changes to the helicopter. The only way that you're going to be able to tell is that the thicker tail belongs to the C.
Oh, fair enough.
The B would be a slightly thinner model. So it looks very much like a Cobra tail because it's made by the same company.
Which, yeah.
And they use components from the mechanical components from.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Rather than reinvent the wheel. So we recreated this variant, this what we have with the armament and everything from a real helicopter.
Yeah.
So the miniguns. Basically, I'll just show you the armament of this thing. We have these little rocket pods under the wings. These are folding fin rockets. They're unguided rockets. Basically, the pilot just points the helicopter in the direction he wants to fire them, and you're basically at that point mobile artillery. So you come in on a strafing run, and you can point your helicopter at the bad guys and push a button and launch one or all your missiles.
Yep.
But the innovation on here we have is these miniguns. So the Navy saw these miniguns and said, hey, this is fantastic. We need to put these on the helicopter.
They say in the documentary that they were the first ones to just be like, how do we get it on there? And the ship welder was like, we'll find a way. And off they went. They welded them on.
So they built a mount for these miniguns. So the miniguns they're electric cannons, basically a rotary cannon. The motor spins it's 6 barrels on a rotary mount, only shooting one at a time. So the 6 barrels, every 6th bullet will be through that one barrel. And the idea is that they can do rapid firepower without overheating the barrel.
You don't have to cool it. Yep.
Right. So a typical machine gun, you have to fire in small bursts. You can't just like unload the whole belt of ammunition. And you could, but you're going to seriously shorten the life.
Right. Well, even in like World War I, they had like the big water jackets that were literally wrapped around them. So yeah,
and that
innovation.
doesn't really help with when having water supply, water cooled gun is not practical on a lightweight operation, lightweight applications such as a helicopter. So they mounted miniguns on here. We recreated this. So camera guy who's actually operating the camera designed this mount for the
Brick Arms minigun?
Brick Arms minigun. So it is exclusive to this kit. Sorry, I know you guys want to buy it separately. But,
you got to have the Seawolves to go with it anyway.
Right.
So come on.
So for the time being, it's exclusive to this kit. It'll probably be available in another kit in the future.
There you go.
But for now, it is available only. Both of these rocket pods and the minigun mount are 3D printed parts exclusive to this kit.
And really bring some next level detail. I mean, especially the rocket pods. It's just, they're really, really cool looking.
Right. It's, when we first did the muzzle brakes way back when, and we did that little 20 millimeter cannon from the Vulcan cannon.
That's right.
That was a really, that was like pushing the envelope of our capabilities. And now we're pushing it even further with these new things. And it's kind of cool that, especially the minigun mount is, we didn't make the minigun. That's a Brick Arms, it's a stock Brick Arms minigun. We just made it better.
We just integrated the mount. Yeah, that's awesome.
So you get two, you get one on each side. This one we actually just got yesterday. We just got all the printed pieces back. So you get everything you see. You get the helicopter, you get the Brick Arms miniguns, you get the ammo feed chutes, the folding fin rocket pods, two of, one for each side of the aircraft. All the printing you see.
Which there is no shortage of.
The peace symbol.
I love that.
These are from actual Seawolves helicopters.
Reference photos.
We did not invent this.
Even the top of this up here, that's kind of a new addition.
So the B model, the early models, they had it's like a sand guard. So this is the turbine. There's a gigantic, I guess it's not even that big. It's a jet engine.
Literally a turbine.
And it's super compact, super powerful. The only problem with it, it sucks in a huge amount of air. And if you're in a sandy or
dusty or anything,
environment like
rocks
that,
flying around,
everything can go inside that engine, which of course will significantly shorten your engine lifespan. So they built this cage that goes around it. There's basically, it's just like a mesh cage that goes around and keeps the foreign objects out of your turbine. And we actually printed that. So it's kind of unique. We actually had to print this piece in a rotary printer. It's kind of cool that we printed it all around like that. So,
that's awesome.
You do have printed elements. I should point out that this is actually, I think this is the last Brickmania kit that we have coming out this year that actually comes with a stand as part of the
Correct.
kit.
That is when we decided to make the separation of just, if we liked this stand moving forward, we're just going to use it with everything and make it available standalone.
So the stand comes off. This is the stand. This will now be a separate feature. This kit will be the last to have it standard. Of course, you don't need the stand. It does stand alone on its own skids. It's not like super fragile or anything like that. The stand clicks in like so. And you can also adjust the stand. That's the one thing. You can adjust that angle any way you want. You can have it level. You can have it tipping forward. This is typical. This is like
the strafing run angle.
Right. Well, they do fly tilted a little bit forward.
That's true.
That's part of the forward momentum of the helicopter doing that. You have some printing on the fuselage as well. These are Navy specific. And then of course you have the nameplate, the Seawolves commemorative plate, just to let you know that what this is that you're looking at. The thing that doesn't come standard is the figure. You get no figures, but when you order it, you have a drop down up to, I think it's 4 that you can buy.
Full crew if you want to.
So
this is your Seawolf.
Yeah, a typical crew is 4. You have 2 pilots, a crew chief, and then a gunner. The crew chief also substitutes as a gunner too. So you have a gunner on each side basically. Crew chief being like, the crew chief is in charge of the operation of the helicopter, all the mechanical stuff. So they have a little bit more elevated position. If you're just a gunner, you're probably the more junior member of the crew. You have the least amount of training, but you're still a vital member of that crew. Because,
Absolutely.
One of the things that when these helicopters are circling around, so let's say a typical mission would be, hey, we have some guys in trouble. A patrol craft is taking fire. They need to evacuate a wounded soldier. So these guys will come in. Typically, will go in pairs. You'll have one will hit the ground to
the other one.
Yeah. So the other one will circle, And one of the weak spots on these helicopters is behind it. All of the bad guys know, hey, wait till it goes over. You can shoot at it from behind.
Yep, yeah.
So with these miniguns, they were actually trainable behind it. They could take care of all the
Watch
blind
for
spots.
that, yeah.
So they would have 365 or 360 degree field of fire. They can fire anywhere. Helicopter can go sideways and they can be firing. It's a helicopter's a
awesome.
feast. So this is one that we've wanted to do. It's sort of a preview of what's to come. We're going to be doing sort of specialized, different variants of the Huey.
Yeah. Seawolves is a good pick to kick that off. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we did the last one we did was a marine. Did we do a Marines version? I think the last one was a Marine version.
The last one was the Gunship, I want to say. Yeah. Previous to that was the bigger one.
We did Army. We did Marine Gunship. This is Navy Gunship. We'll probably do more, and it'll be sort of like in this theme. It'll be specific units or very, very highly detailed things, but they will be short runs.
Yeah.
So we only made 100 of this. There's probably not going to be another batch made.
Okay, fair enough.
The next batch. So if you don't get in on this, I think that as of this recording, there's like 3 left.
Yeah, right. Pretty short, especially with the sales running.
Right, and you just get yourself to one of the Brickmania stores.
Grab a gem. Yeah.
Because this is going to be it. This is not going to be like it's 6 months. They'll be in digital instructions.
Won't be a
for
staple.
it.
No, right.
And you won't be able to get another pack. So the next time you see this, it'll be different configuration, different systems.
But at least gives you an idea of kind of what's to come. The other printing I wanted to point out too is obviously there's this awesome sigil on the front here, but the windows.
Oh right, I forgot.
That's something that's kind of new to come to the table as of this model, I believe.
So yeah, that's definitely like we've been wanting to do that for a while, and like the thought occurred to like, well, why don't we actually just do it?
Take a crack at it. Yeah, right.
So. Slam did new window artwork for it, and the printers just nailed it. They got it right into they lined that thing up perfectly, so the windows look great. Now, of course, every Huey and Black Hawk is going to have that printed window. We've opened the cork on that bottle, and Genie is out.
It'll be something that people look for sure. That's why I want to draw a little attention to it, because it is a really nice little detail.
Right, and that's a piece that everybody's, hey, can you just make that piece?
No kidding, no kidding. Can that be a printed tile so I can upgrade my stuff?
Yeah. So we would do it if that piece wasn't so hard to get.
Yeah, right. We need it for the actual builds itself. So that's awesome. Yeah, a really, really cool model, and definitely something, once again, where it's cool to just see where this might potentially lead, whether it's the printing innovations or the updated designs themselves leading into different variants. We like to explore here, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So anything else you want to say about this?
No, I'm just happy to have it done. And one thing, maybe this is an aside, we have a LST. Model. It's a landing ship tank.
You're letting the cat out of the bag on this, huh?
Right. So 1/35th scale. So if you've been to the LST 325, chances are you've seen my model of the LST 325 sitting down the hall. Well, that thing's going into dry dock either this year or next. They haven't told us exactly when. I want to get that while they're in dry dock, set it up as a display for brown water Navy, because they actually used LSTs, World War II era LSTs, brought them to Vietnam, used them as seaborne bases for the Seawolves, for the riverine forces, and while we have it back in our possession, I want to have a couple of these sitting on the deck. It would be super
Vietnam Mock Air version 2, yes.
Right, we'll make ourselves a sea base, floating sea base, maybe for World War Brick, if we can get it back in time. So.
Sweet, that sounds absolutely awesome.
That LST is going back to the LST, we just don't have a time frame. So it is going to be in our possession, so we'll take it for cleaning. If you don't know, we actually build a lot of pieces that end up either in museums or
or traveling with the Navy.
Right. Well, this isn't the Navy. This is actually a retired ship.
Well, the Heritage Command. I was talking about the Johnston.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes, of course. Yes. Duh. So yeah, our stuff gets around, but it's this day and age we don't get to have it very often. It's more like we build it, goes into one of our stores and stays there because we just don't have that traveling capability. Because we want to rather do stores, not have to spend so much time behind the wheels.
Yeah, so keep your eyes open. You never might know where you see some of those displays pop up, especially from the previous eras as well.
But I'm looking forward to that. If we can get our hands on the LST, we'll build even if it's just for a couple of months, just to take pictures of it. It'll be fun. And we'll return it back to the World War II era. So they can put it back on their ship.
Very, very cool. Always more exciting things around the corner here, and that's one of the benefits of tuning into these videos for sure. So there you have it. That's the Designer Studio episode for the Seawolves Huey. As always, thank you very much for watching.